Guys, welcome back to another episode of Holistic Lifestyle Coaching with Ryan David. And in this video, I want to get you to ask yourself a few questions. The first question I want you to get you to ask yourself is, do I react or do I respond to problems, challenges, issues, any stimuli that I receive from my environment or my surroundings in my life? Do I respond or do I react to those things? That's the first question I want you to ask yourself on a regular basis. The next question I want to get you to ask yourself is, how can I or should I respond to this stimuli or to this situation in a way that best serves me? But to do that, we got to understand how to respond rather than react. And to do that, we got to understand what the difference is between the two. So you might have heard these two terms interchangeably used, respond, react, same things, right? Well, no, this is kind of a distinction actually, this video. And the distinction I want to make is between the definition or the concept of reacting and responding. There's a pretty big difference when it comes to the context in which I'm using those words as it relates to your life, taking control of your life, and taking control of the things that you're responsible for. When you react to something, it's not conscious. It's impulsive, it is instinctual, and it's not thought out. There's no mindfulness involved in the process. When you react, it's based on old learned behaviors or patterns of reacting, conditional circumstances or situations, certain conditions that have applied in the past that you kind of have that instinct to react or respond the certain way that you do. More importantly, when you react, most of the time, it's out of fear. A lot of the times you react and you respond the way that you do in a reactionary way out of fear, and fear is very instinctual. So if you allow fear to consume you, then the responses that you give and the reactions that you give that aren't yours are going to come from that place of fear. And we don't want to let fear control our lives. We don't want to let fear dictate our decisions or our choices. We want to take back control. And taking back control is consciously thinking about how you are going to actively, proactively sometimes really respond to situations rather than react and let your kind of instincts take over. So when you react, you're not thinking about what the response is you're going to give. The reaction is a response that's almost predetermined or decided on a non-conscious level. And that's not what we want. We want to be in control of our responses. We want to be in control of our reactions or how we choose to respond to certain situations. And these situations can be anything from a text message you get, to a comment from a stranger at a gas station, to a statement from your boss. It doesn't matter what the situation is. You're gonna need to either choose between, you're gonna have to figure out whether or not you wanna live a life that's reactionary, where you're always reacting to things as they're thrown to you, or if you want to put some time and some energy and some effort into training your brain and training your system to think about how to respond to any situation at any moment. And after a while, that will become your reaction. The reaction that you will have in situations is to process and think about and ask yourself that question, how should I respond? So a response is exactly the opposite of a reaction. A response requires and involves mindfulness. It requires conscious effort. It requires a choice and a decision. And you stop and evaluate, what are my options here? How could I react? So you're looking at the possibilities of reacting rather than just submitting to and becoming submissive as far as that process is concerned and letting your reactions take over. You consider possible reactions, but you're in control of them before they actually happen. And then you decide and dictate which one's best for that situation. And you may even come up with an alternative one that you really didn't have at your disposal right at that moment. So response is conscious. It has mindfulness as a part of it. It's thought out, choice is involved. These are all aspects of responding. When you respond, you're in control. When you react, you're not. Again, living a reactionary life is not a life that's in control of you or your situations. Living a reactionary life is almost saying, look, my environment has control of me. How I react or how I respond is going to depend on what buttons the environment pushes. It's going to depend on the situation or circumstance, and they're going to cause me to do what I do. See, when you react, you're living with what we talk about as an internal locus of control, external locus of control. When you react, you're living externally, meaning your sense of control and what controls your behavior or your responses is somebody else's. They have control of how you're gonna respond. So all they gotta do is push your buttons and they'll get a reaction out of you. It doesn't have to be that way. You can live internally, have an internal locus of control and say, you know what, I'm in control of how I respond to the situation. They can push all the buttons they want, but ultimately I'm gonna decide. So a sense of control is really, really, really critical when it comes to the difference between responding and reacting to whatever the circumstance or situation is, whatever the stimuli is that you receive. That's critical. So when you respond, you're considering consequences. Reactions don't consider consequences. They're just impulsive. So they don't think through or think ahead as far as how is this going to affect me or the situation in the long run or in the near future. It's just automatic and it's instinctual and it's right in that moment. So we don't want to react to life. We want to respond to it. And to respond to life, you got to consciously say and make an effort to think, I'm going to put some mindfulness thought into what's going on here. What is actually happening? What are my possibilities? What choices can I make? What's at my disposal here in terms of how I can address this situation, this challenge, this problem, this issue, whatever it is? What can I do about it? But you have to pause and ask yourself that I said I wanted you to get yourself to ask, that question I wanted you to get you to ask yourself, which is, how should I respond to this situation, right? So that's the question I want you to ask yourself on a regular basis. But that is after you do some soul searching and you do some work and you ask yourself, do I respond or do I react to life? How am I living right now currently? So take a little inventory and kind of look at your situations, whether it be in your relationships, whether it be with strangers, whether it be to, stress or issues that just come up. Whatever it is, ask yourself that first question. Am I living reactionary? Am I living a reactionary life? Am I reacting to things? Or am I actually responding to things in a thought out method or with some strategy to my life consciously? That's the first major question you need to do, is find out, become aware of how you're living. And then secondly, start to ask yourself, how can I respond to this rather than react? And you'll start to see other solutions that are there that'll be much more beneficial for you. Guys, thanks for watching. If you feel like you benefit from tips like this, let me know. Leave me a thumbs up definitely so I can see those numbers climb, and also leave me a comment below. Contact me and reach out if you have any further questions or issues or suggestions that you'd like to see as far as videos, content you want me to address. Feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you soon in another episode with another coaching strategy similar to this one, or maybe just something crazy that I feel like posting. Either way, subscribe if you're not already. Until next time, I'll see you then. Take care. The next question I want you to start to get yourself to ask. The next question I want to get you to ask yourself, that's it. The next question I want you to get you to ask yourself, that's it.